to the Kent Lapp Podcast.
Which, when you want to talk about news coverage, I don't want to sidetrack from where we're going here, but we want to talk about news coverage. Why is Cuomo not getting more news coverage for forcing elderly people back into nursing homes in New York State, killing 11,000 of them?
He did a press conference today to deliver his message that every person that has died from COVID, Donald Trump is responsible for.
It's
bizarre.
It's absurd. It's bizarre. Absurd. I know people just heard this recently on the podcast, but I have family in upstate New York, and they get into kind of what's going on, and sometimes I don't always read the articles because it sounds a little out there. Well, this summer on the family text thread was like, Cuomo sending people back into nursing homes with COVID. And I'm like, I didn't even really pay attention because there's no way. Yeah, there is a way. He made the law, and they had to go back into nursing homes. But the press doesn't cover that. Mm-hmm. And so the press seems to be, to me, it seems to be strongly left-leaning for whatever reason.
Well, I don't think you even have to be qualitative about that. The stats that are coming out now, if you take a look at, if you just take the two parties, and let's just make it specific to the presidential election. So, if you got a Democrat in Biden, you got a Republican in Trump. I want to say that the stats that came out yesterday were, if you look across all the major media networks, 96% of the coverage of Trump is negative. Well, I get it that he says some stuff that ticks me off.
Yep.
But we're focused on policy and caring for people. It can't be 96%.
That's right.
I mean, when you're looking at an economy that was just on fire before COVID.
It really was. Let's not forget.
I mean, let's not forget it was about deregulation. It was about reducing taxes. It was about bringing manufacturing jobs back to America. I don't care whether you're a Democrat or a Republican. You can't argue that had an impact on the economy.
Exactly.
Now, you can have a different view that, hey, we need to generate some more tax money because we need to be doing some stuff for some people that we haven't been. Okay, if you want to have that argument, but you just can't say, no, it was all bad.
Yeah. Well, I agree with that, but also touching on, do you want to have a little bit more taxes so you can generate money for other people that maybe aren't as taken care of, but also keep in mind, those segments of the population also did better under Trump than they were doing under a more Democratic president as well. So,
the average income of a person has gone up significantly in the 4 years that he's been president for folks, hourly production people, all the way up through middle class.
But what's interesting about the press and Trump, I know this isn't the case, but it's almost like if it wasn't for the thing of having a second term, okay? If that was just a shoo-in where like Trump was just going to be president for 8 years, then I would wonder if there's not some sort of secret agreement between Trump and the news. And the secret agreement basically is we're going to make you look like an idiot and we're going to flourish because of that. And you're still going to be president because he saved basically MSNBC. So there was someone on a Megyn Kelly podcast recently.
There isn't anybody that he hasn't saved.
Well,
from a media
standpoint, I do agree with that. There was a what do you call it? A press, like a dinner for the press. It was like the last one under Obama, and there was people there talking with Megyn Kelly, and basically like, I guess it was nice to see you. This would be the last time. We're at MSNBC. We're done. We're over. We're going out of business. And along came Trump, and guess what? We still have MSNBC. So he's really saved the news, which is interesting because they still position him in such a negative light. Which doesn't really make sense. Like if this guy's but maybe they're being saved because they're positioning him in such a negative light, and that's bringing in viewership, I guess. But why is let's come back to Trump. So first of all, when we look at how the states are handling it, that is a very interesting way to look at it because for whatever reason, and I'm curious about this, I think it's because there's political motivations. I think it's because people like a scapegoat. And also because, keep in mind, this was a new thought to me, but an author, I read this recently, the most basic need of people, of humans, is not for freedom, it's to be taken care of. So that explains why when anything goes on like this, if there's going to be a drift, even in America, the drift is towards socialism, communism, because at least we're taken care of. Like, that's the innermost kind of innate need. Now, I think lots of people understand that that's a bad idea just to do whatever you need to do to be taken care of, because then you're at their mercy. And so there's a lot of people that understand that and fight against that need to be taken care of and fight for freedom. But again, the point being that lots of people drift towards just being taken care of. So when you look at how states are handling the virus, which again doesn't get the attention that it should, because everyone wants to talk about how Trump's handling it. But one of the things that he's handling, I think, decently is allowing the governors to handle it, right? I mean, this is the United States of America.
We do have a constitution still.
Yeah, we do.
I think we're trying to tear it up, but it's there yet.
I do agree with that. But states' rights is a thing. It's one of the reasons that this country has worked as well as it has. So you can look at how California is handling the pandemic, and you can look at how Texas is handling it. And then you can see what's working and what's not, and why is that. And right now, a lot of people are leaving California and they're moving to Texas. So what's interesting to me about that is that we have all these random case studies across America right now. But it still seems like, even though we can take a step back and look at, all right, if you want to have a more authoritarian control from top down, less freedoms, we tell you what to do, we shut down businesses when we think it's necessary and all of that. When you have that going on in California, and then you look at a more libertarian, free market, open market state like Texas, and you can see what's working and what's not. Even though we have those case studies, the sentiment in lots of circles is still towards that authoritarian, socialistic bent.